Thank you so much for joining us for your yoga practice today. We will focus on a lengthening and opening of the front of the body while we stabilize and strengthen the back body. Let's begin in Shavasana. Lying down with your legs long, your arms long. Make yourself comfortable any way that you need to. If you need props under the knees or behind the neck, do what you need to do. And then we'll take some time to unload. And sensing anything that you may have brought on the mat with you. And maybe even acknowledging that some of that may not even be yours. But any weightiness that you may feel, let that start to drop. Let the bones be heavy. And so that the muscles can be more light. And sense the spaces between your fingers and toes. As you soften behind your eyes and behind your ears. Unhinging the jaw, let it hang. And broaden behind closed eyes. And sense the aliveness within your being. You may even take the temperature of your body, feel any heat or coolness. And in that space of aliveness, witnessing your breathing. And let's start to build a more informed breath. So notice if your natural breath is more up and down, like it is for most of us. And then start to cultivate a spherical breath, a global breath, breathing out in every direction. If you have Ujjayi breath in your practice, come into this. As you inhale, feel the breath in your nostrils. As you exhale, hear the breath through your throat. Each inhale, allow for the expansion. As you exhale, engaging a gentle contraction. Let's keep this up as we begin our practice. Slide your right foot in so that it's on the floor and your knee is bent. And we'll do the arms out to cactus or T, a little bit more lift in. Now cross your top leg over the body. Push your entire right foot into the floor. So you're even rolling onto the left side of the hip a little bit. It's a pretty subtle movement. Inhale into your low belly, feel it expand. Exhale, come on back to center. And we'll take this with the breath. Inhale, cross the leg over, pushing down through your foot, sending your hips slightly forward. Exhale, come on back. And keep cruising. We'll take just a few of these on your own. Let your right shoulder stay very heavy as you do this. So it's tempting to have it lift up. An option to add on from here. So next time your top leg is crossed over with your arms out to a T, option to slide your right hand down towards your right foot. Left arm comes straight up overhead, so my arms are just up and down, north and south. And you can look up towards your top hand if you'd like, then push the backs of your hands into the floor. And that may light up the back body so you feel it engage. I'm noticing my neck tense up, so I'm going to drop my head, let my head rest while the arms work. We'll take another inhale while we're here. Exhale, slide back to center with the arms and the legs. We'll take that with the breath. Inhale, cross, arms to north and south, backs of the hands push down a lot. Exhale, slide on back. And try to avoid lifting, but instead go for slide and gliding. And take 2 more like this on your own. As the backs of the hands press down, also the sole of the foot is pressing down. Using the strength of your limbs to work some space in the front of the body and some strength in the back body. Next time you're back to center, both legs long. Whew. Pause, sense, feel. Second side, slide your left leg in. We'll warm it up nice and slow. As you cross your top leg over, push your left foot into the ground and think of lengthening your top knee away from your body. So getting really long through your femur. Let your left shoulder be super heavy, dropping down. And let's take an expansive breath into the low belly. Exhale, bring it back. Take a few with the breath. Inhale, crossing over. Exhale, reset and rest. Inhale, find your cross, letting your breath last a little bit longer than your movement. On both inhale and exhale. Okay, now option to add the arms. Remember, not a requirement, totally a choice. If you're taking this choice, when your leg is crossed over, slide your right arm up and your left arm down. So arms up north and south. I like to do palms up. That's kind of up to you. Then push the hands into the ground. Left foot into the ground. And you might feel a gentle squeeze through your back body so that the front of the body can open up a bit more. Very good. Now take an inhale to the low belly while you're here. Exhale, slide on back. All right, we'll take it with your breath. Inhale, find your movement. Arms to north and south, front body open. Exhale, take it back. 2 more on your own. Allowing your breath to unravel the movement, so to speak. And really allowing for the exhale to be a complete rest. Next time you're back to center, you can straighten your legs, take a brief pause, sense and feel the aliveness in your body. Okay, let's bend the knees in, cross your heels, rock up and down. Let it feel good, like a little back massage. And come all the way into tabletop all fours, however you like to get there. Spread your fingers out nice and wide and take some time for some free play movements. So you might take some cat-cows. I really like to take lateral movements with the hips side to side. So move according to your own needs. And that practice of listening to your needs is what creates connection and relationship to your physical form. Okay, let's lower all the way down to the belly and take one hand on top of the other and rest your forehead onto your hands. Now your hands will stay stacked throughout this entire activity. Tuck your toes under, walk your toes up towards your face. You won't get very far, but do what you can. Then slide your heels back. Press the fronts of your hips down, so you got lots of life there in the low body. Now, keeping your hands stacked, slide your arms over to the right side. Push the floor away, so you're lifting your chest. Now, feel your heart pull forward. Look back to your right heel, working the neck. Hello, heel. Drop your left hip down, let that be real heavy. Now, let's take an inhale through the left nostril to the left lung. Exhale through left lung, left nostril. And I know this is a lot of work, but let's hang out with it for 2 more breaths. Send your breaths into your low back. Feeling the breath in your nostrils as you inhale. Listening to the breath in the throat with the exhale. When you're through, come on back to center. Again, rest your forehead. Let your knees rest for a moment. Sense any little tingling or pulses in the left side body. Other side, set up your legs once more by walking the toesies in, heels back. And then we'll slide to the left now. Push the floor away with your hands. Now feel your forearms pull back towards you. So keep that up. I know that's a lot of work, but keep that up. Now look to your left heel. Anchor your right hip. Let it drop. And we'll inhale through the right nostril, right lung. Exhale, right lung, right nostril. 2 more breaths here on your own. Breathing into your low back as if you had another set of lungs back there. You might even feel that space expand. Nice work. After your 2, come on back to center. Take a brief rest. Notice if you've got any sensation in the right side body. If not, where do you feel sensation, if anywhere? Okay, let's put this into vinyasa. Put it into breath to movement. Activate your legs. We'll slide to the right. Inhale, push and lift. Look right. Drop left hip. Back to center. Exhale for a complete rest. Drop all the effort. Slide to the left. Push and lift. Take your breath in. And back to center. Breath out. Take 2 more on each side on your own. Each inhale, allow for a deep expansion. Each exhale, a gentle contraction. And again, reminder to let your breath last a little bit longer than your movement. And even after you're done moving, the breath will go just a little deeper. Once you're through with your 2 on each side, you can take a breath, or a rest rather, in the center, untucking your toes, breathing deeply into your low belly and feeling it push towards the floor. All right, nicely done. Let's take our hands below our shoulders and press yourself back into a child's pose. So you've got your big toes touching. Your hips are back towards your heels. The forehead might rest on the ground. If not, just let your head hang. Well, that'd be a nice stretch to your neck, as if your skull were a ripe piece of fruit. All right, now looking forward, slide your hands in, maybe a handprint, maybe 2 handprints, and I'll leave that up to you for how much further you want to come in. Then we'll take our right hand onto our low back. Right hand onto your low back. Now notice your straight arm here. Turn the eye of your elbow, the inside of your elbow, up toward the ceiling and push your index and thumb down. So it's kind of like down dog arm. Now on your inhale, I'm going to round my low back a little bit. Now on the inhale, I'm going to twist the chest open to the right here, looking back, and also squeezing the elbow back toward the midline. On your exhale, close your chest. Inhale to open, using your torso, your sideways to twist. Exhale, closing the chest. 1 more like that on your own. You might also get the shins involved and ground your shins for extra support. Both hands can straighten, come into your kind of hybrid tabletop child's pose. And for a lot of us, especially ladies, you might notice your tail sticking out here. See if you can just gently scoop your tail under. Nice. Now check out your right hand here. Press your index and thumb down to the right hand. Turn the eye of your elbow up. And you'll feel all kinds of things going on in the shoulder when you do that. Keep that. Left hand onto the low back space. Push into your bottom arm to rotate your chest open. You'll notice more weight on one shin than the other. Press the opposite shin down. Balance that out. Let's inhale while we're here. Exhale, rotate the chest close. And try not to crunch up the neck too much when you do this. Inhale, open. Exhale and close. Last one on your own. Very good. Can return your hands back to child's pose. Take a breather. And in your own time, lift up to downward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Feel your hands press down and forward. Feet press down and back to lengthen your spine. Let the neck be off so the head can just hang. And if you haven't already, connect with your vision, your gaze, your dristi, as we call it. Using that as a focal point for meditation. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward. Step your feet to the front. And inhale, or let's put hands on the floor first. So you might need to bend your knees, hands on the floor. Inhale to lengthen your spine, lift up halfway. You notice I've got a good amount of bend in my knees so I can keep my hands on the floor. Now, as you do this, pull your hands back to send your heart forward. Take another breath in. Exhale, fold, drape your torso over the legs. We'll take a few of those, so we'll warm it up more as we go. Inhale to stand, reach your arms up and overhead. Bring your right hand down, make a fist with your hand, and as you exhale, push your right fist down, reaching up and over to the side with the top there. Stay for an inhale. Pushing through both feet, hold for exhale. Inhale back to center, slide both arms up. Left hand down, exhale, reach off to the other side. Hold for inhale, feel your torso turn right. Stay for exhale, grounding evenly through the feet. Nicely done. Inhale back to center. Exhale, forward fold, enough to connect your hands onto the floor. Keep that. Inhale, half lift, your heart forward, hands back. Exhale and fold. We'll add on as we go. Inhale to stand, arms reach up. Right fist down, exhale, reach right. Inhale, center. Both arms up. Left fist down, exhale, reach left. Inhale, center. Exhale, forward fold. Listen for the changes here. Inhale to half lift. Hands are connected to the floor. Turn your toes out. Exhale, malasana. Come into a squat. You might need to widen your feet. If your heels are lifted off the ground, that's okay. You might roll up your mat, but you can also just let them hover. Make that connection. Press your elbows into the inner thighs and your thighs back into the elbows. Yeah, resistance between the two. Very good. Practice your breath. Feel the nostrils on the inhale. Hear it in your throat as you exhale. How are your eyes doing? Can you let them be focused and soft? All right, nicely done. It's about to get a little weird. Turn your toes forward, lean forward so your knees connect to the floor. Lift up into a kneeling position. Awesome, yeah. And if you need to keep your toes tucked under, that's a good modification. Hands are alongside your waist. Right fist down, left arm up. Inhale. Exhale, reach to the side. Inhale, center. Left fist down. Exhale, reach left. Inhale, center. Take your hands forward, palms facing each other. Palms facing each other. Close your ribs towards your hips, then lean your way back. And you don't have to lean that far back to really ignite the fire here. Feel the heat. Let the eyes stay soft. And practice your breath. Inhale. On your exhale, you're gonna lean back to your heels, return to your squat. I know that's a weird one, so feel free to be messy with it the first few times. Nicely done. Inhale. Exhale. With your toes straight ahead, inhale to half lift. Option to do hands to floor. Exhale and fold. Squeeze your belly onto your legs. Let's put it all together. Inhale to stand, arms reach up. Right hand down, exhale, reach right. Inhale, center. Left hand down, exhale, reach left. Inhale, center. Exhale, fold forward. Option to connect hands to floor. Inhale, half lift. Turn your toes out, malasana, exhale. Turn your toes forward, inhale to kneeling, arms reach up. Right hand down, exhale, reach right. Inhale to center. Left hand down, exhale, reach left. Inhale, center. Take your arms forward, straight ahead, exhale, lean back. Inhale, malasana, back to your squat. Hold for your exhale. Toes forward, inhale to half lift. Exhale and fold. Just one more like this, you got it. Inhale to stand, arms up. Right arm down, exhale, reach right. Inhale, center. Left hand down, exhale, reach left. Inhale, center. Exhale, fold it forward. Inhale, half lift. Toes out, exhale, malasana. Toes forward. Inhale to kneeling, arms up. Right arm down, exhale, reach right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left arm down, reach left. Inhale, center. Hands forward, lean back on an exhale. Stay for an inhale, breath in. Malasana, exhale. We'll pretend we did that the whole time. Inhale to half lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to stand, arms reach up and overhead. Arms down by your side, exhale. Do Tadasana as a pose. Sense your life force flowing through you. Okay, step your left leg back, coming into a lunge. Now in our lunge, one thing that tends to happen here is our hip kind of pops out to the side. So I'll come facing forward so you can see a little better. It's super common for our hips to be out. So you take your hand inside your foot for this one. Let's actually take our right thumb out, put it in your hip crease, and then draw your hip in towards the center and back. Nice. So feel your right thigh bone squeezing toward your left inner thigh. Very good. Now you can stay with your hands inside of your foot, that's your choice, or walk your arms forward for a down dog lunge. Walk your arms forward for a down dog lunge. If you'd like a fuller expression, you might also spin the edge of your back foot down, find the more warrior one setup with the legs. I want to encourage you to explore your own boundaries today. Very good. So now as your right thigh bone goes toward the left inner thigh, ground your front foot and let your front knee go out. Sometimes it wants to collapse in. See if you can draw it out. Practice your breath for your last few rounds here, maybe even bending your front knee a little deeper. Using your breath to dissolve any tightness in your neck. Inhale. Walk your hands back in. Switch out your legs, nothing fancy. Bring your hands inside of your foot. Take your left thumb into your left hip crease and draw the hip back. Feel that left thigh bone drawing toward the right inner thigh. You can stay here or start to walk your arms forward for your down dog lunge, drawing your chest inside of your thigh. And you're invited to spin the edge of your back foot down if you want to get a little bit more power through the feet there. But notice your breathing. Possibly even creating that global, more spherical breath. Last few. Inhale. Walk your hands back in. Step yourself back to downward facing dog. Take a few breaths in your down dog. Nicely done. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward. Step to the front of your mat. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Option to do hands to floor. Exhale and fold. Inhale to chair pose. Sitting your hips low, lifting your heart high. Look down, make sure you can see your toesies, so you might need to pull your hips back a bit. And I really enjoy pulling the heels out and the big toes towards each other. I feel like I get a little bit more torque through the legs. Notice your eyes. Are you looking down? And can instead you look straight forward. As you engage the muscles below your armpits, allow that to soften through the neck. Inhale. Clasp your hands behind your back. If that's a tall order and it's not happening, you can also hover your hands or hold onto a strap. Staying here or rounding your spine, taking your forehead towards your knees. Notice I said towards and not to. Okay, if it's not exact. And we're rounding the back and also squeezing the shoulders together, really getting into the shoulder girdle. And find your breath while you're here. Even in the face of challenge, being present with the sensation in the nostrils at the inhale and the sound in your throat as you exhale. One more together, inhale. Push the floor away, come up to stand on your exhale. Whew, nicely done. Let's take a big step back. So we're opening up towards the center of the mat. So big old wide stance here. Angle your toes out as I catch my breath, don't mind me. Angle your toes out with your heels in. And then you might lift up all 10 of your toes for just a moment. And then one at a time, put them back to the floor. Nicely done. I know this is very much a balanced pose. With your hands on your hips, feel your tailbone lengthening down, and that might require a little more softness in the knees, right? So a lot of us, especially ladies, we lock out the knees hard. So you might bend your knees slightly and allow your pelvis to slightly scoop forward. Then, once you've got that, inhale your arms up. Exhale, drop down into a squat. And it's up to you, or your knees rather, how low you'd like to go, but feel your, your knees press back and your heels slide forward. Okay, elbows to cactus here. On an inhale, arch your spine. So kind of like the cow of cat-cow. Take your inhale here, squeezing through the back body. Exhale, round, elbows come towards each other, find that major cat back, maybe sitting a little lower. Inhale, opening. Exhale, rounding. Take your time. Take 2 more like this on each on your own. After your next exhale, go ahead and straighten your legs. Interlace your fingers all but your index, reach straight up. Turn your toes straight ahead, and slow and steady begin to fold. Almost like you're slicing the room in half. Some of you may decide to rest your hands on the floor pointed forward, or you might start to point straight back. You might begin to point straight back. If you're taking the point variation, feel the heels of your hands pushing towards each other if possible. Feel the eyes of your elbows turning out just as they did in that little child's pose rotation we did earlier. And have a sense of your feet pulling back behind you to spin your inner thighs back. And consider a gentle lean forward towards your toes. Last breath or two here, allowing the focus behind the eyes and the focus within the breath. Beautifully done. Inhale to a half lift. Okay, how do I want to do this? Let's turn toward your front foot, whatever that may be, doesn't really matter. Turn towards your front foot. Take your hands inside of your foot and heel toe your front foot out to the side. So I've got like a good shoulder distance between the hands. And drop your back knee down. Untuck the toe if that feels good. Turn your front toes out like 30 degrees. Find a little bit more length through your spine here, sending your heart forward. And for some of us, this will be the end of the line. This is a great place for us to warm up to other postures. So either stay here or take your right hand onto your other right hand, your left hand, sorry, your left hand onto the top of your front thigh bone there. Scoop your tailbone under and find a rotation through the chest. Right, so there's a tendency for the tail to poke out here. Instead, draw your tailbone forward toward your front heel. You can look down if that's more comfortable, or maybe look back over the shoulder for a little more invigorating posture. Staying here or reaching your left hand back, you might take a little half bind action and take it around the hip. Or further from there, consider bending your back knee, squeezing your heel to your bottom, and finding that element of back bending through the upper body. Now, whatever you're doing, feel your front heel and back knee squeeze towards each other. Feel the shoulders lean off to the right, finding a little more length through the side waist. Last breath or two here. It's okay if the breath is shaky, just be present with the shake. Inhale. Exhale, slowly release. Nicely done. Switch it out. Take your time, or don't. You got your hands inside of your foot, like shoulder distance apart with those hands. Back leg can drop down. Turn your toes like 30 degrees out to the side. Untucking the back toe if you like. Now, squeeze your front heel, back knee towards each other straight out the gates. That is a lot of work. So you can stay here and do this work, or consider evolving. First, let's talk about this left hand. Feel your left hand go forward, then turn like 30 degrees out towards the left, right? So it's like kind of out ahead of me. So I've got some room to work with that. Stay, or now we can take the right hand on the knee there. I'm not pushing the knee, I'm just like gently resting. And notice what your tailbone is doing. See if you can hug your tailbone in towards your front heel. Looking down if you're going for more grounding. Over the right shoulder if you're looking for more invigorating. Stick with it. Option for the half bind through the right arm, so maybe reaching straight back. possibly wrapping around the waist. And of course, cherry on top, if you'd like to bend the back knee. And there's a few different ways to do that. You can have the foot to the hand and push the foot out is one way, or you can squeeze heel to the bottom. So whichever's calling to you, enjoy where you're at. Last few breaths here. See if you can find a little back bend through the upper back. Think of leaning your top shoulder a bit over the bottom. Awesome, yes, wonderful. Inhale. Exhale, slowly releasing. Wonderful job. Step back to downward facing dog or child's pose if you'd like, but let yourself do a little reset here. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward. Step to the front of your mat. Inhale, lengthen your heart forward. Exhale and fold. Inhale to chair pose. Exhale, listen close. Exhale your left knee to chest, hands to heart. Flare your toes. We'll take our first round with this nice and slow. And yeah, let's hope I ever get the order of this right. Inhale. Take a big step back. Come into a high lunge as you exhale. Sit your hips low, feel your heart lift high. Straight and strong through the back leg if possible. Inhale. Open yourself up to warrior two on your exhale. Sit low through your front knee, feel the knee slide forward. Allowing the feet to drop and ground. Softening your gaze for your last two breaths here. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Hinge yourself forward and take your front hand on top of your front foot. Some of us might need to bend our knees in order to make that connection between hand and foot, and that's great. So do what you need to do. You may also shorten your stance if you want that front leg to be more straight, but that's not a requirement. All right, once you've got that, tone and turn your low belly up toward the ceiling. Option of reaching up through your top hand. And just like before, looking up, more invigorating, down, more grounding. Take your pick. On your inhale, feel your ribs expand. On your exhale, allow your low belly to contract. Two more like that on your own. Inhale. Take your top hand onto your hip. Look down. Preparing for half moon, you're gonna lean forward and take your hand up and over to the right a bit. If you've got a block, that's awesome support here. So as you lift up off of your back leg, I'm gonna have you bend your standing leg. So a little different, bend your standing leg, then turn your low belly up toward the ceiling. Flare your lifted toes, broaden across your collarbones. Then as you push into your standing foot, begin to slowly straighten the standing leg. Try to avoid locking it out. Then take two more like that. Slowly bending your knee, using that to rotate your chest more open to the side. And then exhale, straightening. And if you fall out a bunch of times, that's okay. One more like that. A little bit of a bend. A little bit of a straighten. Very good. Last few breaths, option to fly the top arm, looking up or down. Listening to the breath in your throat as you exhale. And feeling breath in nostrils as you inhale. And together we'll inhale. And slowly, carefully release to triangle pose as you exhale, sliding your hand onto your foot once more. Wonderful job. Looking down, come into a lunge, both hands to the earth, and step your back foot forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale to chair pose, sitting low. Exhale, right knee to chest, hands to heart. Make your standing leg strong. Flare your aerial toes. And find grounding through your eyes. Inhale. Lean forward, take a big step back, high lunge on your exhale. Breath in to sit low through your hips. Breath out to lift taller through the heart. Very good. Open wide. Warrior two. Might need to adjust your feet. Make sure you got that nice heel to heel alignment if that suits you. Now as you slide your front knee forward, drop both of your feet down. And notice what parts of your feet is taking most of the weight. Firm your floating arms as you stretch through the tips of your fingers to expand across the collar. Let the eyes be focused for about 2 more rounds of breathing. Inhale. Straighten your front leg. Prepare for triangle. I'm going to shorten my stance a bit to be nice to my knees, which need all kinds of loving. Then bend your front knee enough to take your hand to your foot. We can start out with the back hand on the waist. Then you might consider straightening your front leg, but again, not a requirement. Keep that hand to foot connection. As you press into your back foot, turn your low belly up toward the ceiling. Maybe even stacking the shoulders. This is a good hangout point, or float your top arm up. Now, while your feet are pushing down and apart, inhale to grow your ribs. And exhale to hug in the low belly. Each inhale to expand. Exhales gently contract. Last 2 on your own. Wonderful job. Take your top hand to your hip. You can start to bend your front knee as we set up for our half moon pose. Now take your left hand off to the side a bit. Then as you lean forward, lift up your top leg. Flare your lifted toes. Now bend your standing knee. And just like you did in triangle, just like we did in that weird child's pose rotation, turn your low belly toward the sky. Turning your chest open toward the side. You may even lift your aerial heel a little higher. All right, we'll come in and out, or let's first begin to straighten that standing leg on an inhale. Exhale, gentle bend of standing knee. Inhale to straighten, extend. Exhale, we bend. Nicely done. Inhale to straighten your leg. We'll stay here, rotating chest to the side. Option to fly your top arm, of course. Practicing your breath and focusing your sight. Inhale. Gentle bend in your standing knee as you float yourself back to triangle pose. Front hand to foot, chest rotate to sky. Excellent job. Looking down, we'll come into a lunge position. In your lunge, step your back foot forward. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale and fold. Now with your knees bent, ever so gracefully, let's just step back into a tabletop, dropping your knees down. If you need a little free movement, feel free to take little lateral bends or a cat-cow. Acknowledging that we are on the descent from the mountain of our practice. And then back in your table, we'll set up for a pigeon pose variation. So take your right knee towards your wrist. And I'm gonna face you so you can see a little better. Right knee towards your wrist. And actually have you just flop onto your right hip. Floop. Floop. So from here, bend your back knee quite a bit. And we're gonna take this 90-90. I do this because it doesn't have to be exact form. So I'm gonna flex my front foot and like adjust so that if this was the front of my mat, my shin would be relatively parallel to the front of the invisible mat. And then my back leg is in a mirrored position, right? So if you have, what am I trying to say? If your hips need some extra support, they can be more narrow, right? So my knee and my heel, front heel, back knee closer together, or sliding it out so it's more of a 90-degree angle on both ends. So choose your own adventure here. Now with both feet flexed, I'm gonna take my hands next to my hips and rotate forward. And I'm leaning forward slightly to put my front knee closer to the earth. Doesn't have to be exact. Nice. Now with your hands down, feel your heart pull forward. Very good. Now push the inside of your back knee toward the floor and the outside of your front knee towards the floor. So we've got external rotation of the front hip, internal with the back. Practice your breath. Let any seriousness that might have crept into your face dissolve. I always say the key to an effective yoga practice is having a sense of humor. Very well done. Now, as you lean forward, this one's kind of a doozy. As you lean forward, lift your back heel up off the ground. And that might be just an inch, right? That's a lot. So I'm leaning forward, so leaning my chest forward, lifting the back heel off the ground. Hold it for, let's say, 3, 2, and 1. Now, option to lift your back knee up off the ground. That's a lot, I know. Just 3, 2, 1. Then sweep your back leg all the way around. You're gonna take your front heel toward your back hip, front heel toward your back hip, and your opposite, what was previously your back heel, in front of your knee. Make that as confusing as possible. So Ardha Matsyendrasana. So I've got my left foot is firmly rooted onto the floor. Awesome. And clasping your hands on your thigh, kind of hug it towards your midline. Let your heart lift up high. Feel both sit bones grounding down. Inhale, feel your heart lift up away from the floor. And gently rotate your chest toward the left. Now you can choose here to wrap your right arm around and take this kind of hug position with the top knee. And as your left hip resists and goes forward, let your left shoulder go back. There's 101 ways to do arm variations in this pose. So if you have an arm variation that speaks to you, please take it. Feel the outer chain of the body start to open. Inhale. Exhale, release, come on back to center. Now listen close here, I'm gonna scoot up a little bit. Leave your front leg, your bottom leg, leave your bottom leg where it is, and start to sweep your back leg all the way back into a pigeon pose. So in this variation of pigeon, I've got my heel in the opposite hip crease, and I'm gonna look over the back leg and make sure that the knee is pointed straight down. Very good. On your inhale, feel your heart pull forward. You can stay here in this lifted position or lower your chest down. That's up to you. But feel the weight of your body draped over the front thigh. And allowing that weight to make this compression that does really wonderful things to that outer glute space. And all good if you want to just relax, let this be restorative. It's a nice pose for that. For those of you that do need a more intense practice, feel both feet pull towards each other. So the tops of both feet push down and the tops of both feet pull towards each other. Creates this kind of lifting action. You might inquire within yourself, can I stay active in this pose without using my face? Active without using the neck. Active without using the tongue. Last few breaths here. Inhale. Nicely done. Slide your hands back in. Step back into a tabletop. In fact, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. We need a few breaths behind the knees here. Return to your tabletop, slide your left knee forward and flop your booty onto your left hip, flopping onto your left hip. Then bending your back knee and setting up your legs in that 90 degree position. So my front shin is parallel toward the short edge of the mat. And I'm gonna mirror that with my back leg. And again, to modify, your back knee hugs more toward the front heel. Awesome. Then with your hands toward the floor, push your outer front leg down, outer front leg down, inner back leg down. And feel that kind of contrast and rotation between the two. Hands to the floor, lean yourself forward, look forward as well. Option to lift your back heel, just 3, 2, 1. Option to lift your back knee, wowzers, 3, 2, 1. Straighten your back leg as you sweep it forward. Coming into Ardha Matsyendrasana. Hugging your left heel towards your hip, putting your right foot towards the ground, then hugging your thigh, just sit up nice and tall. Inhale for some length. As you exhale, turn your torso to the right. Option to kind of clothesline with the left arm onto the top thigh there. You notice that your right hip kind of wants to turn back. Ever so gently, draw your right hip forward and down. And with the right hip forward and down, contrast with right shoulder back. Find that global spherical breath here. And feeling how the breath pushes into the legs and the chest. Beautiful job. Inhale. Looking forward, hands to the mat. Sweep your back leg behind you, coming into your pigeon pose. Now with pigeon, this variation, because there are many, you've got your front heel underneath its opposite hip and the top of your back foot down. You can stay here with the heart lifted, or you can slide your arms forward. Maybe resting your forehead to a block or the floor. But allow the weight of your torso to drop into your front leg. Creating this really lovely compression. And of course, if you did on the other side, consider pressing the tops of your feet down and pulling the tops of the feet towards each other. Find that internal listening to both body and breath. Allowing that listening to create connection and relationship. Last few breaths. Inhale. And begin to walk your hands in. Lean to your left, swing both legs around. Legs are straight ahead. And begin to slide your arms forward, relaxing into a fold. And you're more than welcome to bend your knees in this fold if you'd like. We did a lot of side body and front body work today. And so we counterbalance with a brief forward bend. On your next breath in, you can roll yourself on up to a seat. Give yourself a little hug with your legs and take it down onto your back. Good. A little side to side here. With your arms wide, with your arms alongside of you, set the bottoms of your feet down for a brief bridge pose. Press into your feet, inhale to lift your hips. Consider walking the backs of your arms closer together. As your tops of your knees slide forward, feel the soles of your feet pulled back. Everything touching the ground, pressing into it. Find that global breath. Inhale. Lift your heels and slowly roll yourself back down. Arms out to a T. With your hips a few inches to the left, drop your knees toward the right. Allow your breath to fill up the low belly. Inhale. Back to center. Move your hips to the right a few inches. Drop your knees to the left. Take the low belly breath. Inhale. Back to center. Release both your legs long and your arms long. You can close the eyes here if you'd like. And we get just a few moments here in meditation. And we have the opportunity to practice our listening. If we are speaking, if we are responding, we are not listening. So as you notice the thoughts pass through your mind, as they will, simply listen and allow them to pass just as quickly as they come. You may even notice just taking note of what kinds of thoughts pass through. Oftentimes, they are societal narratives. They're not even ours. So you may even notice, is this mine? And so we have a few moments to practice this deep listening. So let's drop all the weight in the body down. Notice the air on your skin, the texture of your clothing, and the effortless breath rising and falling. Just a few moments to listen to all of the details of your immediate experience as a neutral observer. I'll wake you momentarily when we're through. Take a snapshot of how it feels in your body to be engaged in deep listening. And let this be a benchmark that you return to, maybe in the presence of loved ones or even when spending time with yourself. Start to wake up the body in any way that feels natural to you. Maybe take a big stretch. You can bring your knees in and carefully roll onto your right side. And come on up to a seat with your eyes closed, palms connected together at the heart, bowing your chin inward. As we practice deep listening throughout our week, may we notice if we are walking around with any thoughts or feelings that aren't necessarily ours. Maybe they're societal, or maybe they're a generational inheritance from our ancestral line. Maybe they are ours. But may we be present with the details of that and meet ourselves with the unconditional love that is ever present, noting that we have access to this unconditional love whenever we practice deep listening. Thank you so much for joining us today. Namaste. Yay! Thank you so much for joining, Linda. It's so good to have you back.
Oh, yeah. You're not getting rid of me easily.
Katie, I want to say I enjoy your food pictures so much.
I'm so glad.
Posting them, they're freaking art, and I love cooking. So when I see stuff like that, I'm like, ooh, I want to make that. So it's very inspiring, and cooking has been such a stress relief in these crazy times.
Same.
So I appreciate you.
And I get to stress eat all that good stuff.
Right? Yeah. It's not stress eating, it's called soothing. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, ladies. I look forward to seeing you again next week.
Okay, bye.
Okay.